All right. I don't know if it's going to do a countdown. I think
It
we're
says recording
recording.
now by me, so
All right, sweet. Well, hey, listen, this is my very first interview. I don't even have a name for the show yet, if this is a show. But I've wanted for a long time to start interviewing. I call them hidden gems or shooting stars or whatever you want to call it of the Wani community. I might expand out and do Michiana as a whole. And this isn't just to do with real estate. And obviously I do mortgages, and in my other business, we take care of a lot of homeowners with audio, video, IT needs. But it's going to expand out. It could be I might interview people of faith in the community. I might be interviewing business leaders. But today I'm interviewing Brady Klotz, who has become a close friend of mine, and who is an insurance guru. And I'm excited to bring him on. He's actually the very first one that I decided to interview, just because he was willing and up for the ride. So we don't know exactly how this is going to go today, but I do know that I have some good stuff that I want to get out of this guy. And so yeah, Brady, thank you for coming on.
yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. Should be exciting. New adventure for you and for me too. So let's let it ride.
Yes, I think I got airplane mode turned on here, so we won't get interrupted by too many calls. So so yeah, you work for Farm Bureau, right?
Yes, that's
Agent.
correct. Yep, I represent Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance as an insurance agent and investment broker as well. And so we do an array of things. And now we're coming back to the local community of the Napanee Wakarusa area. And so we're really
Nice.
excited about that this fall to open up a new office.
Nice. And where's the new office at?
New office is going to be right downtown Napanee. The address is 156 South Main Street, and
Nice.
right across from Hunter's Hideaway, right downtown there. So we've been working on the build out recently, doing a few demolitions and getting our walls up, and technology in there, paint, flooring, and the whole 9 yards. So it's been
Wow.
quite a journey so far. So we're looking forward to seeing the finished product and helping people from our community.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, I know that people are happy to have you back home and bring in your, kind of your big city expertise. I know you've been in some bigger markets, and you can bring some of that knowledge, back to us. When do you expect to be open down there?
We're going to be open early fall. We're projecting late September, early October at this point. And so
Nice.
we should be up running in full capacity with full staffing by then as well. But yeah, I'm really happy to be back. Grew up around the area, got out for a while after college, got some bigger city experience, was able to learn a lot in the process, and come back now so I can bring that knowledge back to our local community and help out the people that I know and that I've hung around my entire life. And looking forward to meeting some new faces as well. As times change and people move in and out. There's a lot of opportunity around here for our kind of business. And so that's
Yeah.
part of the reason why we selected to come back to this area.
Nice. That's awesome. So do you do residential and business insurance both?
Yes, that's correct. We've got a holistic approach in what we offer. We do everything from home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, to business insurance, farm insurance, and annuity. And
Oh,
so
wow.
the great thing about working here is that we can kind of find something for every single customer, and not have to have them go elsewhere. It's kind of a one-stop shop, in my
Yes.
opinion. So we pride ourselves on that and have experts in every area.
That is awesome. Well, I know that you saved me a lot of money. Actually, I kind of am proof that it's worth shopping insurance every now and then, because you saved me hundreds of dollars. And actually, taking a look at our business policy stuff too here soon. So I appreciate you doing that for
Yeah,
me,
no,
and for being
absolutely.
competitive. That's awesome. So can you kind of give me, a little bit of a background as far as, what made you so excited to get into, insurance of all things?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. So after I graduated college, I moved down to Florida for a couple of years and tried to pursue a golf career. And, after a few tournaments, I realized that it was time to get a full-time career and, get back up here. So I started working in the financial planning industry back in 2014. And so what we were investment brokerage, handled IRA, retirement accounts, trust funds, and did some life planning on the side of that, estate planning as well. And after doing that for about 4 or 5 years, I decided, you know what, I want to come back to my hometown community. I want to do what I do back here and take what I've learned and bring it and help the people around here that might not have access to the expertise that I've accumulated and I've learned in other markets. And so that's been exciting for me. And a lot of what we do isn't really talked about. A lot of times people get very transactional in the financial services world. And I've had many mentors over the last 4 or 5 years tell me, keep everything relational. You keep things relational, small town community, you'll have a long career. And so that's kind of what we're priding our business model on, is relationships and not transactions. And
Nice.
so, coming back here and doing what we do, the face-to-face in an ever-changing digital world is probably going to mean more back in a small community with our type of people in, Napanee, Wakarusa, Elkhart, South Bend area than it does in a big city where the pace of life's a little bit quicker.
Yeah. So do you find that referrals are huge in your industry? Because I, for one, I love working off of referrals, not just referrals coming my way, but, if I have a good friend say, hey, this is the plumber to use. Hey, this is the people that have quote your sprinkling system for your yard, or just whatever it may be. Even if like, hey, this is the place to get a pizza. I'm huge into like referrals from people that I trust and know because they know me. So if they like it, I'll probably like it. Is that pretty true in your industry?
100% true. Referral is the best form of advertising for us. Oftentimes I'll have conversations with clients about rates, and, there's a lot of different carriers out there, and how we're able to keep our rates fairly priced is we don't spend a ton of money on advertising. And so, what I do is I try to leverage my network and the people that I know in other industries, because that goes a lot further than, getting a mailer or, an email or seeing an ad on TV, because there's already a relationship built there. And so the people that I'm entrusting in my network, I have a strong relationship with, and I wouldn't be sending my customers to them if I didn't trust them as well. And so referrals are 100% the best form of advertising, I think, for any business, but particularly, ours, with insurance, and yours with the mortgage and the pro IT, it's very important.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, I think one of the things that kind of drew me to you was just like your exuberance and your passion for life in general. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about insurance or, whether we're talking about horses. You like to go to the Derby and, follow horse racing a lot. And so whatever it is that we're talking about, you've always just like got that contagious passion. Do you think that helps you a lot as far as, in the sales sector, so to speak?
I think so. I think that's right. I'm one of those guys. I'm never halfway in. I'm either all in or I'm all out. And so, that's the only way I would have it. But it certainly does, because when you wake up in the morning, if you care about what you do, you can't wait to go to a meeting, or you can't wait to, see somebody. That's what drives me, is it's really being around people. And so, I've had jobs before I got into this kind of industry where I was kind of boxed in with no windows in a small office, and, really wasn't around a whole lot of people. And I really wanted to get out there, get into the field, and kind of be that first touch on our sales force to be able to build the relationships with our customers and help service their needs. And so that's a huge thing for me. I need to get out. I need to be around people. That helps energize me. And so
Yes.
It helps push me too. And then I get to meet people like you who are cut from the same cloth, motivated, energized, and really trying to make a difference for a lot of people in our network.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's noticeable. That's for sure. So not that I want you to give away, any of your secrets to your competition, but I think that you're the same as me. We like to share what we know, right? And there's always enough to go around. And so whether it's like another insurance person, I mean, now that I'm in the mortgage industry, it's very similar to what you're doing, as far as, we have to work off of leads, and we have to, I don't throw a ton of money at advertising either. I've been using a little bit of Facebook. This interview will be posted on Facebook. But do you have any tips for people, not just like in your industry, but maybe any sales industry, whether it be insurance or even investment? People have to go out and seek out the clients. Do you have any tips or pointers as far as, what's worked for you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'll give you 2 quick ones right off the top of my head. The first one you just touched on, as not necessarily looking at everybody else's competition and if there's enough to go around. I think a lot of people put too much pressure on, oh, well, they're my competition. I can't associate with them. And I actually like to use my competition as a referral source, because there's some things that I won't be able to do through my business that my competitor would be able to do. And so I try to create nice relationships with my competitors so that we can refer business back and forth of clients that we can't take care of. And at the end of the day, it's about taking care of the client. And so if we're always doing that first, then we're going to have good, healthy relationships with our competition. And there is enough to go around. If you look at the population of our area versus how many companies that do what we do, I think that there is plenty to go around for all of us. Number two would be, at the end of the day, when it comes to sales, whether it's insurance, whether it's mortgages, transparency in what am I getting for what I'm paying for. I think a lot of people get these statements and files that are this long and 70 pages. You have to read through every single page of, okay, well, what's this covered, or is that covered? What do I get out of this? That's where the personal relationship will never end in our types of businesses, because we're the extension to be able to explain how that all works. We're just a phone call away. All my customers have my direct line so they can reach me. And so when I'm reviewing with a new customer or a current one, it's really, okay, how much am I paying and what am I getting out of it? You'll see a lot of insurance companies that'll just try to get the cheapest rate possible. And everybody wants to save money. I want to save money too. But at the end of the day, when you file a claim, are you going to be treated like the cheapest person also? So for me, let's get what we're paying for. And so, it's not cookie cutter. It's very customized. And so those are the two things that I would give out as advice that's helped me.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That's awesome. I know people will get something out of that for sure. I got to ask you this, because it's kind of the way that the world's going right now, right? So the Amazons putting the mom and pops out of business, and I know that we live in the Midwest, and I think there's a lot of loyalty to your hometown shops, and maybe it's like that all over the country, but I certainly know it is here, where people will even pay a few extra dollars to go down to the local hardware store rather than ordering stuff on Amazon. I mean, although we all use Amazon because it is super convenient, are you seeing anything of like online people kind of coming in and gobbling up your market with these, like discount rates and, just no personal interaction? Because in the mortgage industry, we're seeing that with, Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage. How is that affecting your industry? And is it something that keeps you up at night, or can you kind of go into that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I don't get more about 5 hours of sleep each night anyway, so we're busy enough. But no, that's a good point, and we're definitely seeing some infiltration of the bigger companies coming in with their digital advertising. And we've actually had a few scenarios with clients that we've brought on over the last couple of years that came from that world. And here was what their story was, is they went online and they purchased something not through a broker. And so they looked and they selected their own coverages without any kind of assistance or advice from a specialist. And so they bought what they bought, and then all of a sudden they had a claim, and then either it wasn't sufficient coverage or it wasn't the right type of coverage. And then, those claims ended up being denied. And so for me, at the end of the day, yes, digital is a presence. Amazon, bigger companies are coming in and they're trying to gobble up our markets. But at the end of the day, as long as the customers value what they're getting for what they're paying for, then it shouldn't really be an issue for us. And so, if I get a customer, I mean, the only thing that would keep me up at night is if my customers didn't have enough coverage. And so that's at the end of the day, when they come in to meet with me or any of our staff, we want to make sure that they have sufficient coverage and, they're getting what they're paying for and not just buying something off the internet that they don't have any idea what it covers. And so at the end of the day, it just comes back to that kind of transparency.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's kind of that's the way I look at it too, is, why wouldn't you want to do business and have someone be accountable? I mean, this is not a small thing. I mean, your insurance is huge, right? It's one of those things that you just put in place. You don't really think about for a long time until you need it. And I've had one of my commercial buildings that caught on fire, and I was undercovered, and I had no idea that I was undercovered because I was young. I was just starting out in business. And so I said, give me the cheapest coverage possible. Well, we had experienced success over the next several years, and nobody checked in on me. And I didn't think about it. I didn't remember five years ago what kind of insurance I had selected. So not only was I undercovered, I didn't have, I think, what's called replacement cost.
Mhm.
So I was out like at least 15 grand, and it was a learning experience for me, because I was like, you know what, from now on, I want to find somebody like Brady. I didn't
Mhm.
know you back then, but I want to find somebody who's so passionate about what they're doing that they're checking on me, which I think you do with your clients pretty often.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, we do annual reviews at least once a year. With my business clients, we try to get in touch at least every 6 months, sometimes every
nice.
quarter, just depending on the situation. At the bottom line is that your needs change as you grow as a business. When you first start a business, you've maybe got a couple employees, and then you grow to 10, 20. All of a sudden, the insurance that covered what it did when you started isn't sufficient for what you have now. Same thing with families and households. If you have a husband and a wife, they get married, they buy their first house, and then all of a sudden they have 3 kids. Their life insurance need would have changed. Your income goes up, mortgage debt, there's a whole bunch of different factors. And that's why, when you're buying something online, it is very cookie cutter. When you're working with a local person like myself or Alex, it's a lot more custom to you. And I've actually gotten my mortgage through Alex's company, and I've been very impressed with the process of how we've nitpicked every single detail of it to customize it exactly how it is to fit my needs. And so truly appreciate that as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that too. I always think to myself, you know, if you have to see me walking around and we have to see each other at, high school sporting events, or, whatever, we're running in similar circles, right?
Yeah.
How are you not going to want to take care of somebody who you have to live with in your hometown? If you go online and you just buy something for the cheapest price ever, nobody's
Mhm.
accountable. You don't even know who that guy is, Jake from State Farm on the other side of the phone, you don't know who it is. And it's the same thing with the mortgage industry. I know that
Yeah.
I've heard that those chop shops, kind of, discount lender houses, pay their people, right out of
Mhm.
high school and college, a couple $100 per loan, and they don't really get proper training, and you don't get the same service, obviously, because they're
Mhm.
not in your hometown, and quite frankly, a lot of times they don't really care. They're just
Right.
trying to get their commission check. So no,
Mhm.
another issue that I ran into, and this is kind of for the business owners out there, is that I was under on my workman's comp, and that totally caught me off guard. I didn't even know this was a thing, but that you can get randomly audited, right? And they said I owed, I think it was $20,000, and my jaw dropped, and I was like, "What is going on with this?" So, is that something that you try to protect your clients from happening?
Mhm.
How often does an audit happen, or is that something you catch during your every 6-month checkup?
Yeah, so an audit can happen once a year. Sometimes every other year. Just depends on what the situation is and what the underwriters decide on that. But generally, about every year is consistent. That's why I try to get together about twice a year with my business clients, at least, because we have a halfway meeting throughout the year to see where we're at. Sometimes sales are up, sometimes sales are down. And so if we meet halfway every 6 months, we can adjust the premiums to where the appropriate amount should be, because the last thing you want to do is be undercovered or be overcovered and be paying us too much for sales and payroll that aren't happening. I've seen that recently through the COVID-19 phase, the last 4 months, with some businesses that have had to shut down for low employees, cease operations for a while. Their sales and payroll numbers have also reflected that. And so we've been making a lot of adjustments over the last couple of months on that end for a lot of businesses.
Yeah, you actually brought up what I wanted my next question to be about, is how is COVID? Everyone obviously wants to know
Mhm.
how everyone's been affected by COVID. It's one of the first questions you get when you go anywhere, especially from other business owners. But how has COVID affected you guys? Does it hurt you at all? Is it business as usual?
It is changed the way we do business. I don't want to say it's hurt or helped. It has helped us review with our clients over the phone more. I'm a face-to-face person. I like getting people in the office, or I like stopping by the home and having a chat face-to-face. However, that's not been the reality the last 3 or 4 months. And so with people being home, people being off work, it's given us a chance to really take a deep dive into all of our current customers' policies and needs. And some customers get really busy. We have a husband and wife, 3 kids. You've got, your main work, and then it's a full-time job getting the kids to practice. And so
Yeah. Oh yeah.
now people have had a lot more time to sit down and take a look at those things. So, I mean, I feel like I've been as busy as I've ever been, which is a great thing. Trying to build out the new office on top of that's taken up a lot of my time too. But yeah, I think it's really changed how we do business. Hasn't hurt or helped anything. Just we're figuring out new ways to connect with our customers.
Yeah. Do you think that that'll continue on even after well, assuming that someday these face masks and, the social distancing rules go away? I mean, do you think that
Yeah.
you're going to keep some of these new practices implemented, or is it going to go back to business?
That's a great question, and we always have to prepare for the future. And the unknown and unexpected always comes up, and so we do look forward in that. And part of my build out actually with the office, with some of the windows that we're doing in the reception area, would be COVID-19, approved, so to say. With
Nice.
having some coverings with glass and things like that if we needed to, for people to be able to come in but stay the appropriate amount of distance away. At the end of the day, it's still the relationship that really is why we have the clients that we have, and we continue to bring on the ones that we do. And so I think it's just going to change how we do business every single year. I think it'll always be something else, and we'll continue to learn. And maybe it will never be perfect, but we can certainly learn how to do better.
Yeah. Do you have, not to put you on the spot, but do you have any cool like success stories or something that really like warmed your heart because you saved one of your clients? I don't know, just some sort of inspiring testimony of, you that made you proud and how you did your job.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a few, and I'm trying to think of which one would be the best one to hear here. But I mean, you want something on the business side or the personal line side?
Let's do, well, maybe one of each if they're not, I mean, if you want to share.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So we had a new business come to us. It would have been about a year and a half ago, and they were in the construction industry. Okay, and so what they're doing is they're renovating houses, they're building new houses, and things like that around the area. And they brought me their work comp policy, and the work comp policy only had 2 employees on there, and they had about an operation of 6 guys on staff. And so I went through their policy with them on, okay, when's the last time you got this, audited, or when's the last time you met with your agent? And the answer was, I haven't seen my agent in 10 years. And so
Oh,
what had happened is we got their coverage changed. And then about 6 months after they got their coverage changed, they had a claim on one of the employees that wasn't currently covered on the old policy. And so the business owner came back to me and was so thankful, because if they would have just kept things as is with their previous company, with the work comp, they would have been in a world of trouble. And so
wow.
they were very thankful that we took a look and took a deep dive and, asked the questions that we do. A lot of times, when you're meeting about your insurance, there's a lot of questions, but there's a lot of questions for a good reason. And
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome, man.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you had to be proud of that, and
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
they had to
Well,
be
and
relieved.
the other one on the personal line side, my whole thing about coming and working with an insurance company was, okay, if I'm going to work for an insurance company, how are they going to treat my friends and family, like my closest friends and family, when they have a claim? And I've had 3 close friends have a claim, of course,
Oh
and they've
no.
always been weird ones. And so I had a friend that last year had a claim. They were at a parking lot and they backed into another car, and the car owner was deceased, and the person driving didn't have proof of insurance. It was expired, and something else. It was like the car was tied. I don't know. It's something else. Somebody else came into it, and I mean, immediately the client thought, "Oh my gosh! I mean, they're going to deny this. They're going to make me pay for it." And we ended up covering it out of his liability, and with no deductible for first claim free. And so it was a
Wow.
great experience for one of my good friends, and so we were happy that we were able to treat them that way, and
Wow.
that gives me confidence when I'm bringing on new individuals and new businesses, that I've had multiple instances over my career where my closest friends and family have had claims, and it's like, oh no, hold your breath, let's make sure we pay out. And every single one of those situations, I feel like my company's gone above and beyond with the claims department to make sure that our customers are made whole, and that helps me
Wow.
sleep at night.
Yeah, that's got to give you confidence. Hey, just to be clear, that person was already deceased before he backed into the car, right?
It was the owner of the car. They had never transferred the ownership, and then the
Okay.
insurance was expired. It was a bunch of different
I was
weird,
gonna say, man,
things.
he really backs up fast. I mean, just
Right,
wanted to
right,
be
exactly. Yeah.
wanted to
Oh,
be clear about that. No, I knew what
yeah.
you meant. So no, that would be nerve wracking, when it comes to selling something to your friends and family, and then it's like, man, you guys better support me on the back end here because I
Yeah.
know you and I know your integrity. If it wasn't a company that would stand behind it, you'd be gone. You'd be somewhere
Yeah.
else. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the number one thing, people ask all the time, no matter what business you're in, well, what separates you? And a lot of people will say, well, it's our price or it's our product. And I really think it's in insurance, it's how do you pay out your promises? If we do a
mhm.
policy and you're represented with my company, are we going to pay you when you have a problem? That to me is the most important thing. And
Yeah,
then
for
the other
sure.
thing is customer service. I think a lot of people, when they're dealing with insurance companies, they can never find their agent. They can never get their agent to call them back, or all of a sudden their agent's gone. And so,
Yeah.
how we handle our claims and our customer service level, I think, are the two things that separate us from most companies.
That's awesome, man.
Mhm.
Well, you're just yeah, you are definitely a shooting star, and I'm super pumped that you're back in our area. I love Walker Sinapani area, and I just feel like when people like you come back home, especially after getting some big city experience and bringing that expertise here, it just makes us all better for it. So I appreciate that. I guess one last thing that I wanted to kind of ask was, what is maybe something I have a lot of new homeowners that I've been pre-qualifying and
Mhm.
first time home buyers, I should say, and younger people, and they don't always know what to look for in insurance. What is, I mean, I know it's a loaded question, but what is, I don't know, maybe something that would surprise people about when they're shopping for insurance, or something that you would want to make sure that they really look out for?
Mhm. Certainly. One of the main things that I see specifically to homeowners policies is as home values continue to rise, as we know that we are in a very strong rising market right now as far as home prices go, the value of your replacement cost is also going up as well. And so on a lot of policies, there will be a separate deductible for wind and hailstorm damage, and it's usually about 1% of your total home value. So let's say that you have a $1,000 deductible for all perils other than wind and hail damage, and your house is worth $300,000. Well, your deductible for everything but wind and hail is 1,000, and your deductible for wind and hail is actually 3,000, and that rises every year with your home value. And so that's one thing that I like to touch on, because when you break down what you save by having that deductible and what you pay extra for not having that on there, and just to have it covered under your $1,000 deductible, is completely different. And so most of our claims happen, during wind and hail storms. And so that's something I always like to look at, especially if my clients have trees or if they live in a wooded area, to where, that's something that is at a higher risk for them. And the other thing I really, really recommend for any home buyer is your personal liability. Our world's
Hmm.
ever changing, and there are lawsuits out there that surprise us every single day, and especially the amounts that they're going for. And so to have $1 million worth of personal liability coverage can cost you anywhere from about $42 to $56 a year. And so most people
Wow.
have about 300,000 or half a million, and for about, 35 to $42 a year. So for about an extra $10 to $15 a year, you can have $1 million of personal liability coverage. That would cover you if you had a family gathering and somebody, tripped and fell in the fire pit and had some burns, or fell down your stairs. We've even seen family members sue each other over that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
it's really important to me to make sure that I, at least have that conversation to my clients about what the advantages are to having $1 million of personal liability.
Yeah, no, that's huge. That is huge. Something I didn't think about until recently was, we
Mhm.
have a couple four-wheelers on the land,
Yep.
and my kids have, friends over, they're all riding the four-wheelers, and that was something that you brought up to me was, on
Mhm.
my current policy that replaced, that I didn't have any sort of coverage for that. And that just kind of blew me away again, because I guess I just, my insurance agent never reached out to me or kept up with me. He didn't even know that I had four-wheelers. But that's pretty huge too, right? Just to make sure that that was pretty cheap for me to cover that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, what's these kids, they're doing jumps out here and they're doing crazy stuff. And so obviously it makes me feel good to know they're covered. I mean, I hope I never need it, but
yeah. And we see that risk a lot on farmland. Farm insurance is a big thing for us. And, we'll have farmers that have, anywhere from 10 to hundreds or even thousands of acres around the area. And they're worried about what happens on their property sometimes when they're not around. And so, four-wheelers, snowmobiles, accidents can happen anywhere on your property. And so it's always good to make sure we have the appropriate amount of coverage for that. And, on yours specifically, we were able to increase the value of the replacement cost on the home, and then also save some money as well as upping some other coverages. And so it was a really good fit for both of us.
Yeah. And I'm covered in case we ever have an earthquake.
Yes, you are. And I'll tell you what,
which I thought that
now
was crazy.
That the year is 2020, I'm not sure what to expect. 2021, I hopefully will be better, but I hope there's no earthquakes coming anytime soon. If there is, you'll have a house.
Yeah. What about killer hornets or fire-breathing dragons? Am I good with that, or is that?
If we've got those to worry about, I think going back to quarantine would be a good idea.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on and being my first guest. I just super excited to kind of get this little show off the ground and just, bringing more attention to not only the people that I want to bring on, but in the passion that they have, but also just the knowledge that you guys have, to share with the community. And so how easy is it? Just, I kind of want to leave people with something. I mean, I'm sure that people are thinking about, man, am I covered for things? Either whether it's a business owner, man, have I had my workman's comp adjusted? Do I have full replacement cost? How easy is it for people to get a hold of you? I mean, I'm going to post this on Facebook and tag you. Do you prefer people text or Facebook you, or? And
text
is it pretty easy to get a quote?
Is the best way to communicate with people right now. Okay. You can reach me at 574-400-7188. That's my direct line. Give me a text, give me a call. It's a simple, free quote, no obligation process. Or even if you just want a second opinion, if a doctor tells you you need surgery, do you question it sometimes and go get a second opinion? It's never a bad idea one way or another. And so my team's happy to help you guys out, or anybody that needs a quote for business, personal lines, farm, life insurance, or retirement planning, anything like that. Just give us a text at 574-400-7188.
Nice. I don't know if I'll have the fancy, editing that can make your number pop up by your head, but maybe eventually someday we'll get there. But that's okay. People can rewind it and write it down.
Or you can get in touch with Alex on Facebook, and he'll be able to direct you over to me as well.
I will. We'll post this and tag each other's pages so both of our followers and friends can enjoy it. So thank you so much for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too, bud.